guys, this is Sean Hammond with PremierGuitar.com. We're at Winter NAMM 2017 in Anaheim, California, talking to Johnny from Daredevil Pedals. Johnny, how's it going?
Good morning. It's going good, yeah.
Good. So you have two new pedals at the show here, right? We just heard the Supernova?
Yeah, basically what we did, we took the Nova and I kind of tweaked it out a little bit, and I wanted to add something that could take it from like a really bright 60s kind of fuzz, it was still like really biting, but then add some depth to it and kind of make it more blown out, like a really big, heavy, like 70s fuzz face, kind of super fuzzish thing. So you kind of get a lot of range in that, still with that really like bitey tone that cuts through, and a lot of sustain and grit and everything. So
is it germanium or
silicone fuzz? So original design. Yeah.
So you're going for sort of a tone bender?
Yeah, you'll kind of hear it if we start on the brighter end. It's got that real brighty kind of Vox tone bendery thing, and then when you start dialing into that low, it gets really blown out and it gets pretty heavy. So
what did you have it set at when we started out?
That was on a little bit of heavier setting, but I'll kind of start here on the bright end, and we'll kind of work our way through it.
Let's do that. So do you get a lot of when you like crank the volume? Some fuzzes are a lot more interactive than others in terms of like you set the fuzz and the tone at one level, and then volume moderately or something. It's one sound, and then if you crank volume, it's like a completely different sound. It's like not really a linear relationship. How is that kind of how this works, or?
Basically, the key to this is the gain setting. When you get it, up past like 3 o'clock, you start to get that kind of gated, really kind of choked out, bitey, kind of sharp edge to it. But then, it'll smooth out as you roll that back, and you can get a little bit more of like a, like if you roll back a fuzz face or something, and you get a little bit more like rhythm tone that's not so like over the top. And
I guess the better way I should phrase my question is, does the response change a lot if you go like right now we're like 10 o'clock on volume? Yeah. If we go way up to 2 or 3 o'clock, does it completely change the character, or is it just louder?
The original idea when we put out the other Nova was that I wanted something that was loud and cut through so that you could actually use a fuzz for a lead boost or like a solo boost. So these have always been like kind of loud and a little bit stiff and cutting, but that's where it kind of, you get that benefit when you play live, because you need that, whereas like a fuzz face or a muff or something, you try and hit that and it really compresses out, and you kind of lose that. So this is definitely going to be like loud and stiff and more cutting and in your face, because that's like the intent,
So it's a little more predictable as you bring up the level.
Yeah, I mean, it holds its own and it stays tight, and you keep that gritty kind of edge that's going to come through in the mix. Especially with stuff, humbuckers and higher gain amps and stuff like that, you still want that to cut through. So that's always been the goal with this, and now I just made it so that you can get a little bit more vintage and a little bit more heavy blown out. So
how much is this going for?
Street for these is $149.
Cool, that's a good deal. Okay, so next to that we've got the Chicago Way, and I know it says Daredevil Custom. Is this like a limited run thing, or?
So what we did is occasionally I work with like local artists and stuff like that. So this was a collaboration I did with a local blues guy in Chicago, where he had something in mind, and we kind of worked together to get this 2-in-1 pedal. So what we have is like a vintage 70s fuzz, and we have a really vintage overdrive, and we did a 2-in-1. And what's cool with this is you can adjust the order in which they're stacked, which actually makes a pretty huge difference with these two circuits. So depending on where your application is, there's a lot of different ways you can kind of dial this in, from real subtle and warm, or if you want like biting leads to come out with the overdrive boost, there's a lot to it. So that was a collaboration we did, and that's why we put Daredevil Custom on there. But
it's not like a limited edition thing.
No, originally it was going to be, but we got so much feedback, and it's only been out about a month, and we've had a lot of people wanting these. So I think we're just going to make it a regular release, and it's a cool idea, and it turned out really good. So.
Nice. So the left side is called West Side Fuzz, and you said it's a 70s sound. Can you be more specific about like what you were kind of going for?
Yeah, I mean, basically, we kind of took like the older, I guess it would be like a late 60s thing, like Sam Ash fuzz, and really started with that and then changed everything about it and made it a little bit more usable and a little bit tighter and a little bit more friendly to what we were trying to accomplish. I'm
not familiar with the Sam Ash fuzz. I think I've heard of it, but I don't really know much about it. Is that sort of a more gnarly or just a more mellow?
Real blown out, really thick. And it was hard to get some articulation out of that circuit, so I kind of had to go and redo a lot of it to make it to where it would work with the overdrive, because that was the idea, is to keep this so that when they stack, we get what we want without everything just turning into total mush,
Why don't we hear the West Side Fuzz first?
So you can hear, even with the gain really cranked on that, it doesn't get super blown out or fuzzy. It's more of like a usable, kind of warm overdrive-ish fuzz, especially compared to like, something like what we just did before. So
let's hear it with the Southside drive added to it. Is that cool?
Yeah, we'll start with just the overdrive here, so you can kind of hear that. Now we're going to switch the order of these.
So right now it's with the drive coming after. Is that right?
Correct. So this is the fuzz first. Now we're going to switch it over to the overdrive first. So you can tell it's a lot better.
Cuts way more.
Yeah, it's hot. There's more treble, and that's if you don't want to use like a lead boost or something. You can really get that solo to jump out. So that's kind of what we were shooting for with this.
Very nice. So is the West Side Fuzz also silicone?
Yeah, silicone here, and then the overdrive. We kind of took the best of everything we liked about like really old school like 808s and super overdrives and stuff like that, and just tweaked it out until we got it to where it was warm, but it still had enough like low end to it, and get the clipping the right way and all that stuff. So
cool. So how much is this going for?
These are $225. So like I said, brand new. Those are going to be out all the time. So
nice. Why don't you tell everyone where to go online to find out about these and all the other stuff you do?
Yeah, everything's daredevilpedals.com, and we have a page on reverb.com, and you can find some reviews and stuff coming out in the next Premier Guitar magazine too. So
sweet. Thanks, Shawnee. Thanks for joining us, guys. I'm Sean Hammond for PremierGuitar.com.